Hello, fire signs. This is your general reading for July 2020. As I was contemplating this reading, focusing, centering, the idea came to me, where are we at? So, where are we at? That could mean 1,000 different things. But as I looked at that thought, what popped out was we are still in the midst of a lot of changes, a lot of things that have rocked our world and shaken us up, and we are in the trees. We are not out of the forest. So, where are we at? It's probably a good overlay for this. July is going to see, at least in the state where I live, it's going to see a lot of changes. It's going to see attempts to return to the situation that was normal, considered normal before the viral pandemic. And what are we going to do with that? Well, being forewarned is being forearmed. So I'm looking at this reading for July as being forewarned. What's going to be important? What's important for the collective? The collective fire signs? That's where we're going right now. These cards are from the Psychic Tarot for the Heart by John Holland, and they're going to drive the reading, really, because I'm using these as oracle cards and archetypal cards, something that gives an overlay, makes some kind of a question that can be answered or wants to be answered, or a result or a feeling that we're having currently. There's going to be a line here, and that's going to be the active line. You could call it where you wish it. Everyone knows in their heart of hearts where they fall on the spectrum. Just think about it if you're talking with your friends, and your friends or acquaintances are asking you about yourself. It's what you envision and you describe to them is where you place yourself on the spectrum of being an active type person with all the goodness that involves, being a passive type of person with all the goodness that involves. You can consider it to be masculine, feminine. There's 1,000 different ways to put that whole balance, but this reading is all about balance. It's all about there are two sides to every story. That this is a reading that's about connections, about relationships, about the weaving together of energies and how that works for us and with us. Active line first. Let's see what we got. Believe and succeed. In this deck, this is the Six of Wands card. And what's being said here in the Six of Wands in this particular case? Well, it's a time to focus in on your strengths, who you are and what you are, which is going to be determined the best by clarity, truth, your clarity. But it's time through this card to see yourself and to understand what that means to you and what that means to others. Because as we see the lighthouse here shining, this can be a month for our active part of our audience right now. The time to follow the light of that lighthouse. Head for the source. Go for the gold. Go for the goal. Go for the light. Out there. Head towards that out there light. Or perhaps you can turn it around and it could become being the light, being the beacon for others. When you believe in yourself and when you see yourself succeeding and that interflow back and forth of believing, succeeding leading to more believing, etc., that is contagious. It's something that is on the positive, since we're in a world that's filled with thoughts of contagion and infection right now. How about having contagious and infectious not be a disease, but rather something that is worth going for? And if you are the light, or you're following the light, that's a whole world unto itself of an operation about contagion, an operation about infectious. Be infectious, be contagious with your goodness, with your light. In the passive line, dreams coming true. In this deck, this is the 9 of Cups. So, a time for celebration, a time to sit back for a moment and watch the glory of unfolding as fruition comes, as you reap what you sow, or you reap what you have sown. And dreams coming true. So be clear about what your dreams have been and watch the influx of energy into that and watch how that inspires you. Simultaneously, leave the door open for the divine, because the divine can and will step in at any time and add more abundance, more joy, more of everything to what's already going on. But you got to open the door. This is the deck that we're going to use for the active line. And what we have in said active line, 2 of Swords, 10 of Swords. That's uncanny, because this deck has been well shuffled. Okay, that's cool, because that gives something to hang your hat on in your active way, right? Be proactive. You got wands here, so that's fire. So this is like all the armaments, all the tools that you can use to direct your course towards the light. And with a 2, a 10, and a 9, it's almost like the sense of completion wants to sit in the middle and play the hinge for the doorways to open. The doorways, just for perspective's sake, to the choice here and the achievement here. So it's a way from the standpoint of completion to look at almost the whole spectrum. And it really is the whole spectrum, because the ace, just prior to the two of swords, is just potential. It's not, it offered the new potential, and you decided to grab the gold, and you went for it. And you made the choices. You achieved the state of being that is just prior to completion, so that you could appreciate the entire process that went into it. Then you stand in your completion and you look out towards your achievements, towards what you can believe in and what it takes to be successful at that. And let's not forget that this is a lot of air added to fire. There's some passion here that wants to be part of this. Let it be. Get enthusiastic. I remember a gymnastics room that I used to work out in, and next to the trampoline was a poster on the wall that said nothing was ever achieved without enthusiasm. And so enthusiasm is fair game, folks. Let's see what we got for now, the passive line. King of Cups. King of Pentacles. And the Moon. Well, you've been on quite the journey in your passive your passive sojourn. And I would say it would doesn't generate the feeling of cockiness, but you certainly stand every reason to be proud that you've gotten where you've gotten, and that you did, like, being the king energy does not come without effort, does not come without being who you are, what you are. The fruition of all that came with something, and you know what that is. Those of you who are feeling your oats right now, you're feeling like you have what it takes. And these kings being, the male energy, though, in the passive line, which can be the feminine line, might mean that you discovered a balance point that allowed you to grow, to take the highest heights. And notice, if you will, that both of these guys are looking over here at the Moon card. So there's a bit of a yearning that's being generated by this feeling of leadership, a bit of a yearning for the what's next factor. So in the sense of your dreams coming true, what's next can be the realization of that dream. And I'm feeling very strongly that the mysterious journeys that can be brought by the Moon card might be your cup of tea. You've been looking for some adventure, but not adventure the way maybe the rest of the world sees it. something that contains mystery, something that where your mind can be employed in figuring out what is this journey all about? What's the pathway that I'm going to undertake? And maybe that's it. Maybe there's something that you've been deciding to launch, thinking about launching, and now you're seeing the opportunity to walk between these two towers and walk into that mysterious journey. Okay, something to think about, though, just worth noting, since these lines always, in my world at least, work together. Now, there's a lot of confidence here. There's some thought process here where it's unfolding what the dreams are. So that in a way, this line, the passive line, is got everything that can be gotten at this point to feel complete. True that for the active line. But the blending and the intermingling, this active part of a partnership, or the member of a team that is the active member, the active partner, has a lot to offer in terms of, if you're going on mysterious journeys, this person has been to the pinnacle in a completed cycle to know how to figure that out, how to figure out the nuances of walking into the world of the moon, the lunar light, the things not appearing the same way as they do out under the sunlight. Figuring that out. What does that mean? Where are we going? It's all here. And simultaneously, this person who's having the dreams come true, and that's all they have to do is to allow the dreams to come true. They already have come true. And that can help take the final step towards this believing and having that lend itself to success. So let's see how the blending of energies wants to work together. But right now, this is looking like a very dynamic duo here. What are you going to do with it, though? There, you got the King of Pentacles, so you're not going to be floating in the air about it. You got to employ it, though. You have to employ this kingly energy to keep it grounded. There's a lot of air here. Too many thoughts can be a problem. Okay. That's the situation. The challenge is the moon. Interesting, we were already talking about that. And now we have the King of Cups again. And last but not least, the Fool. I mean, if you're in a relationship, a partnership, or a marriage, or whatever, that you've been thinking about going on a trip, pulling up your tent stakes, and maybe going out into the world of discovery for a while. Maybe it's a journey for business, maybe it's a journey for pleasure, but it's something that you're looking at as an adventure. Then, it's pretty clear that the gods are smiling on that kind of an effort. Because, I mean, you're being supported in ways that if you want to march out and go on an adventure, a quest of some sort, even if it's, I mean, it can be right around your homestead. You could be doing some adventurous things around there. I'm just saying that there's a journey into the unknown that is being suggested here. So you have a lot of completion here, both of you. I mean, together. This line here is the blending of these two lines, the active and passive. So in this sense, even though this was the 10 of swords, you've also had some completion as a team in the world of passion and inspiration. So you shouldn't have any problems coming up with ideas about what to do or where you want to go. In the challenge, though, that the moon is coming up here again, you have not gone there yet. You haven't actually formulated or crystallized your plan yet. It's time to do it, though. And it's the passive, I think the passive partner can be leaned on somewhat to come up with the inspiration or the ideas particularly that are going to work for both of you. And I'm just going to use the word she here. It doesn't have to be she, but whoever the passive member is here, she is sitting at the doorway already, kind of knows that the room that she wants to look into and to go. So therefore, prime territory for taking care of a challenge. If there are obstacles, perhaps this person already knows or already has visited that territory and can answer needs, questions, uncertainties, mysteries, because they've already thought about it. They've already considered it. Your strength is the King of Cups. Once again, though, it's in this line. So the passive partner here really, really, I don't think it's going to be a stretch. It's not going to be like pulling teeth or anything. But they're going to be inspired because this is going to feel like home territory of their inner world, their inner self is going to be reflecting out the means by which to take advantage of this being the strength. This is implying this particular deck, the ViceVersa deck, when you get the back, like it has two sides, right? When you get the back, you're embodying the energy. So the combination here is there's a sense of looking within for the answers. The answers are going to take place, it appears, that there's a potential for them to take place in the outer world, in the material, physical world. But the way to get there is through the interior world. And then the potential outcome, well, it's looking to me like there's not much to say about the Fool being in that position. The final step is to just believe. And maybe since the Fool represents the quintessential believer, maybe so The passive's been leaned on a lot, but maybe that's the time to come up here and check in with the active partner, because the active partner, that can be a two-way street. The active partner can throw the switch on believing, but then turns around and becomes the inspiration for taking that first step, like the Fool does. So for July, it looks like a really dynamic month. Make the most of it. It's yours to grab. It's sitting there. It's looking like low-hanging fruit. And I wish you well, and I thank you for being here. Have a good July, and I'll see you next time.